Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I know it's been quite some time since I've done a video here on TouchTheFireTwice. Been spending time over at the gentleman next door, although honestly we've been kind of MIA there for a while as well, so hope to be back soon on that side of things. On the Bath & Body Works or home fragrance side, it's been kind of boring, dull, dry, really all of 2017 so far. Right now we're middle of April and haven't seen anything exciting this year, in my opinion. In fact, the only things I've purchased you have pretty much already seen. So the videos I did back in, what was it, maybe December, late December, on tomato vine and lavender coconut and the honey tangerine and the black tea rose. Those are my most recent purchases, except for when black tea and rose changed, when it went wide to the lighter colored gray glass. The formula absolutely changed. I've done sniffs side by side in the store that I go to with the original and the lighter glass, and it did become much different, in my opinion, much lighter and drier, and I really loved that first one in the dark glass. So I did purchase 3 of those when there was a candle sale back in maybe January or February, just to have those, since I loved the kind of failed version of it. Other than that, as far as like calendar year 2017, those were the only 3 candles that I have purchased until yesterday, and I did grab 2. So I was, the test store that I go to, or I actually don't think it's a test store anymore. I think that they occasionally will get things in a little bit early, but not a true test in the way that we often think of the Atlanta or Ohio test stores. But I was getting a haircut, and I was like, okay, trying not to spend money on wax, and haven't had the desire to, because Bath & Body Works has really been, not strong at least the past couple of years here, or, the last 6-8 months kind of been the worst in many others' opinions. But, I'm there, I'm going to check it out and see what's going on. They did have the new collection, the sort of cucumber melon, I'm not sure what we're calling it. I'd almost call it like a basics collection, that has the, quickly just kind of show that here. So that's a heads up, I did grab that. Cucumber melon, honeybee, Black Tree Merlot, Farm Stand Apple, Indigo Sky. That collection was there. I will do a review on the Cucumber Melon just because I think it is interesting. And that was the only new thing I saw there. I'd smelled the Paris collection, not the wrought iron fence one, but the other, like, Paris Cafe and the blushing pink rose petals and things. Maybe about 2 months ago in February, and didn't like any of them, didn't purchase them, didn't even bother it for review purposes. But I sniffed the honeybee collection, let's call it, went and got my hair cut, and then went back, so I was like, okay, you know what, buy one, get one free, there's a couple that I like enough, maybe I'll grab them and do some reviews, because it's been a while. And lo and behold, a sales associate had been packing up a lot of the candles that were on the floor, and then, you just kind of always have to observe what they're up to. And then I noticed that there was one of their storage drawers. She left it open, wide open, boxes there, it was kind of a mess, and there was no one around, so I went over and looked to see, whoa, what's going on there? And what do I see but this candle that I have never heard of. I've not heard of this collection coming out in test. A lot of times we'll see posts on Instagram, or, thanks to what Bath & Body Works Daily Find, Life Inside the Page, or Tina Divalicious, or The Show, or Selly, or all these folks who sometimes will get these sneak peeks or heads up. We often know what's coming. And this one, maybe I'm out of the loop, but I have not heard anything about this collection. And this is the only one I saw for it, because it looks like it's something where they're preparing to set for it, but not actually setting them out yet. But what's interesting is, if you've ever seen, they have sort of the paper, I guess, guides for how to set items on the shelf. And so I was able to see, what the plan is, and I think there were boxes there with, I think, some other candles in them, but this is, again, the only one out. But I was able to see that apparently it is a collection coming up called Coast to Coast. Now, the sign said, and this was just like their internal sign as far as, how to make the floor set, it said Coast to Coast A, and I suppose there's an A set up, maybe in a B set up. This is just literally for in the walls, as opposed to a centerpiece display. So this could be a collection that is not even going to fully test. Maybe it'll just go wide and everyone's going to get them in soon. Really don't know. But there are 8 candles in this collection. I'll do the in-depth review in just a minute here on the Seaside Mist candle. But before we get into that, I'll tell you what the 8 candles will be. I haven't seen them. There's only like kind of a little artwork, computer graphic version of what the labels look like from very, very zoomed out on the floor plan guide. And the bummer is that most of them are actually going to be repackages, and they're recent repackages. No shocker there. So really quickly, there's going to be Turquoise Waters. There will be Mango Shores, which I believe is, we've seen. Honestly, the past 2 years, all of the beach collections I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to because they've all blended together for me. But I think that clearly Turquoise Waters is you know, we've seen that a lot. Mango Shores, White Driftwood, which I'm assuming is going to be the same as our other Driftwoods. Salted Vanilla, still out on the shelves from the December release. Midnight Blue Citrus, can't get rid of that. Coastal Jasmine, which I don't know, that could be new, that could be, I know there's a lot of jasmine fans out there. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just Jasmine Waters, if they're bringing back Salted Vanilla from that collection. How surprising would that be? Not at all. And then we've got really the only two that ring as new names to me that aren't clear repackages necessarily would be this one here, the Seaside Mist, and then one that I am intrigued by and I hope is new, Beach Sage and Mint. Now, I'm thinking, okay, there's a really good shot that maybe there's that Mineral Springs that was kind of a, I think that was the one that was mint, or no, the Bergamot Mint, I'm sorry, I'm thinking Mineral Springs, which is sort of that lime, but the marble collection, the White Barn marble collection that came out in January, it wouldn't surprise me if that one has mint in it, the Bergamot Mint, they could easily say that it's sage, citrus, and mint and repackage it. I'm hopeful that it'll be a true sage and mint with a beachy feel to it. That would be awesome. I always love herbals, you know that. Right. But Salted Vanilla will be white. Midnight Blue Citrus will be dark blue. Coastal Jasmine will be kind of a light green. And the Seaside Mist you see here is kind of like the hot cocoa and cream grayish color. Then the Turquoise Waters will be light blue. Beach Sage and Mint is the dark green. Mango Shores is essentially white. And then the White Driftwood is a light gray. So, sorry for that confusion. Those what those are. But let's get into this. And I will say right off the bat, with this, I'm not positive if it's a repackage or not. Again, there have been so many in the past year and a half, 2 years that are very similar and not super memorable in my opinion, that it could be repackaged. Hell, it could be repackaged from a couple of the recent collections with the mess of White Barn core collection and marble collections and such. But immediately it didn't grab me as obvious. But I also didn't spend a lot of time in the store doing sniff, side by side sniff comparisons. So more so, this is going to be a here's what I think it smells like, and here are the notes, and maybe some of the more up to date experts will have a better idea than I do, because I think my sort of in-depth knowledge is more like 2009 to 2015, and beyond that it starts to get a little bit messy for me. So either way, let's get into it. So when I first saw this from across the room and I saw Seaside, I got really excited because I thought, oh my god, they brought back Seaside Escape, which was for me kind of top 5 with the summer candles. Not at all, but what are you gonna do? It is pretty packaging. So got the plain silver lid like we've always seen. This is that frosted glass. This is, I mean, probably, I would say this is probably the hot cocoa and cream color. Maybe a tiny bit more of a darker gray, but it is kind of that light grayish chocolate brown. The matte glass with that kind of that sprayed color on the outside that would first appear in the Coastal Cool collection back in, I think, 2014. White wax, got some stubby wicks there, but they don't look terrible. And the label, I really like the labels. So this is, you've got the silver edging here, and this is slightly, this rectangle is slightly raised, just Seaside Mist and kind of that script font, acceptable, kind of basic, but not quite Walmart basic, I don't think. And then I believe, I don't know if that's just sort of like a random visual, but to me it almost looks like, some sort of, the like opal seashells or something, like when you pick up some sort of mollusk and the inside has that pearlized layering to it. It's kind of what I get from that. Not sure if that is actually what it is, but that's the vibe that I sense from it. So I kind of see this as like a subdued, supposed to be kind of higher end, a little bit more mature beach or seaside collection. Less of the like tropical party and more of the, coastal beach house, less of a, party town kind of beach or tropical Caribbean kind of beach. And so let's just get into the notes. Obviously that's what everyone's here for. So what they are saying for this is fresh mandarin, bright sea spray, and coastal lavender. Yeah, no clue exactly what that means. 2450, well, not no clue, sorry. 2450 is the base on these, which is pretty standard now for what they're doing. And as you can see there, the pour dates is the 79th day of 2017. So we're talking early mid-March is when these were poured, and now we're talking a full 4 weeks later they're starting to come out. Leads me to believe they're not quite test, because at this point, they're summer candles. They've got to start getting them out, you know, late April, early May. We usually see the last summer collection hitting sometime in May into June, and maybe you'll get one at the semi-annual sale in late June, but beyond that, it's kind of just whatever's on the shelf. They'll sell that through the summer before fall starts coming in early in you know, late July, mid-August. So Mandarin, Sea Spray, and Lavender. Sea Spray is a tough note. There was a Sea Spray candle. I know that a lot of folks, I think Show 78 being one of them, really loved it from back in 2012, I believe it was, in the sort of spring Under the Sea collection, which I think is actually the last time we saw Seaside Escape in that collection, potentially. I don't remember that one so much. I don't think I ever purchased it, but it was a nice blend. But Sea Spray could mean a lot of things. It could just mean a watery note. It could mean some sort of aquatic flower. They'll use this very interchangeably on many candles. Mandarin and Lavender are a little bit more clear. So let me do sort of my in-depth sniff on this and see what I can get. So I'm surprised that it's Mandarin, because it is, I would say this leans, you know, clutch your pearls, throw out your cash and go buy some cotton candy marshmallows, because this does lean cologne-y, so if you don't like that, step away from the computer. But it's not the typical cologne that's just full-blown Axe body spray, you know, Macy's teen boy cologne scent. It has a bit of a maturity to it, or complexity to it. Again, it's not any sort of insanely sophisticated or unique blend like, you know, a black tea rose or some of the other ones out there that we've been wowed by. So the Mandarin, if it's there, they say fresh Mandarin. I don't see fresh Mandarin, because it's not juicy, and it's not really, there's no pulp, there's no juice, there's no brightness, there's no like pucker to it. Not overtly sweet. Like sometimes they'll throw a kind of a sweet citrus into their blends that have a little bit more of that either musk or something to them, but this is not it. I would almost lean towards bergamot, which is part of the fear, I guess. Lavender, very background, very background. Again, this would not surprise me, and I wish I had more time in the store, but I was running late, running out, and just said, well, let me grab it, because I've not seen it, and I liked it enough that it's, you know, it's not a favorite, but I'll definitely burn it. This could be, you know, along the lines of maybe your bergamot waters, something like that. It's refreshing. The Sea Spray I don't get. I wouldn't say that this is particularly a beachy candle, whereas, you know, the Coastal Cool Collection 2014, your Beach Day, your Suntan, your Palm Leaves and Aloe, those were all pretty straightforward beachy scents. Even your 2015 kind of Nantucket Sales collection, there was obvious beach notes in it. This, not so much. This just leans a little bit cologne-y. Again, I know a lot of people hate bergamot, and B&BW certainly does overuse it. I'm a fan of bergamot generally. A lot of my colognes from Atelier Cologne have bergamot in them. Not always the primary note, but often you can smell it. Again, I wish I could say more about this. This may be the least in-depth review I've ever done, but it is fairly simple. A lot of times, I'm sure you know this, a lot of times I'll kind of just crack it and sniff right here, because the lid, the rubber gasket, does trap some of the scent in a different way sometimes. You never want to just smell that or just the wax, because I think you really get a better picture of what it's going to smell like when you sniff them together. And I actually get a little bit of sweetness maybe at that point from the Mandarin. It leans a little bit fresher without the powdery cologne that can sometimes just like make you talk like this because it chokes you out. It's not so much like that. It's a little bit fresher. So burning this could be really nice. And I actually do get some of the astringency from the lavender at this point as well. A bit of sweetness. The lavender, again, it's a powdery astringency in the background. But not so much, you know, I think that Villa Bergamot and and all the repackages of that have come through that claim to have lavender in them that you really don't get. I can see some lavender in this. At the same time, this does smell vaguely familiar, so would not be shocked at all if people come back and say, Josh, you idiot, this is just, you know, XYZ repackaged. And I'm like, well, I never bought it because I didn't like it enough to buy, but this is good enough. You know, I grabbed it on the buy one, get one sale. So again, 16 minutes, not a whole lot for you to go on there, but I was kind of excited to see something new. You know, it's not often now that I, you know, get the thrill of seeing a collection that's brand new that I've not heard of before, you know, which is part of the fun of, you know, Instagram and everyone having this heads up news is we know exactly what to expect. You know, seeing something that's truly new, there's this moment of, oh my gosh, what is this? Let me check it out. The excitement of what it could be. And Bath & Body Works usually disappoints when you try when you get that excitement, because it's very rarely going to live up to your hyper expectations. So, but overall, I enjoy it. I will burn it. I don't have much right now that's, you know, that leans this direction towards like kind of the conceptual cologne-y beachy, aside from the core, you know, suntans and beach sides and beach days that I've saved over the years that I do love. So I'll give it a shot, and I think I will, you know, enjoy it. It will be absolutely fine, just not something I would repurchase. But if you have any questions, or if you've seen this or heard anything about it, or any of the other collections coming up, please do comment as always. Stay tuned. I will also have the cucumber melon review coming up. And until next time, guys, take care.